Welcome back, Soulful Society, to Soulful of Wellness,
the multi-generational podcast brought to you by two functional imperfectionists
and certified coaches
who deliver tips to help you live your most authentic, balanced, and anxiety-free life.
Okay, we both recently binged National Geographic's Limitless with Chris Hemsworth on Disney Plus, which essentially is broken down into 6-hour-long episodes about how we can live better for longer.
Doctors, scientists, and other industry experts teach Chris Hemsworth how to regenerate damage, maximize strength, build resilience, shock our bodies, supercharge memory, and even confront mortality.
So in this week's episode, we're talking about what we've learned and what we're willing to do so that we can live better for longer.
Thanks for being with us again this week for another week of wellness goodness. We need a little tag for that, like a little wellness goodness, but not that. And if you're here for the first time, welcome. We are happy to have you join us.
We would love to have you as a regular listener. So if you enjoyed today's podcast, please consider subscribing or following so you'll get a new episode delivered automatically every Thursday morning to your phone.
If you have not yet rated and reviewed Soulful of Wellness, we would be thrilled if you could tap that 5th star and type a little bit about what the podcast is doing for your life or how you feel about it or what we should improve. Heck, whatever you want to type, we're here for it. We love hearing what you have to say. Kaylin's going to read an email.
Hi, Kitten K, newbie listener to the podcast writing in. I wanted to pass along that I decided to try a sound bath after hearing it on the Wellness Trends We Tried This Year episode. The idea piqued my interest, and somehow I was not surprised that we have a practitioner located 10 minutes from my house. My experience was not intense, but I will say that I came out of it feeling balanced. I did make notes of things I experienced and saw during my sound bath. The main takeaway was the reminder that slow and steady wins the race, and to remind myself that we are going on our journeys at different speeds, and that's okay. It's okay to be moving slowly as long as you're moving. I hope to do another sound bath soon. This was a 10. Thank you again. And we just wanted to thank you so much. I'm not going to reveal your name because I didn't ask for your permission to share this on the pod.
We were just so happy to receive that email. Reinforces that what we're doing matters, and that means everything.
So grateful to hear from you. If you guys have any feedback, feel free to shoot us an email at sfowpodcast@gmail.com.
On to this week's episode. We're talking about Limitless with Chris Hemsworth. Okay, it doesn't matter if you have seen it, never seen it. In a nutshell, Chris Hemsworth explores the different ways humans can live better for longer by taking on physical challenges, from diving into ice and doing this, 200-meter swim, something like that, ridiculous, to scaling skyscrapers. And he has one big challenge each episode that he works up to, learning tips and tools and strategies to help him be successful in that challenge and also in life.
Right. And the whole theme being longevity. How can we live longer, but more importantly, live well? So, guys, obviously the takeaway is to scale a skyscraper and swim the Arctic, right?
Thankfully not.
I mean, why are we doing this, people? So, as wellness coaches, Kit and I personally, we are not scientists, right? So, if you want to learn about the specifics and the science behind all of what we're talking about today and what Limitless is about, definitely check it out. It's on Disney Plus, streaming now. No, this is not sponsored.
They do a really great job breaking down science details and making them understandable to the layman. I followed it, or at least I think I did, as I was watching. I was like, okay, I get it. when Kaylin and I were getting excited to do this episode, which, by the way, I'm so proud of us because we did not debrief about Limitless before this. This is all real time, authentic, what you're getting now. It was hard for us not to share thoughts, but anytime we did, we're like, nope, save it for the pod. So we decided we are definitely not going to try to explain any of the science to you because that's not going to go well for us. That's not our area of expertise. We're talking about wellness and the wellness lessons and the tips, tricks, and strategies that are really similar to ones that we use with our clients and how you can utilize them in just daily life. Just regular people living regular life. No special challenge needed. The 6 topics are stress proof, shock, fasting, strength, memory, and acceptance. Mm-hmm. Let's launch in with stress proof, where Chris learns to tame his stress response while attempting a terrifying crane walk. Stole that one from the website, by the way.
I felt so validated. I know that square breathing works. I know we learned it at Georgetown. Yes. I believe in it. I use it. And every one of my clients that uses it adores it as a quick tool to be able to tame your gremlin and tame your anxiety. But to hear it on this documentary from the scientist was, I gotta say, super rewarding, very validating.
For those of you who haven't seen it, one of the primary strategies they taught Chris for in-the-moment elevating stress was, they called it box breathing, but it's what we call square breathing. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4, repeat until you've done it 4 times. He actually used that when he was standing on this crane off the top of the skyscraper because they were monitoring all his vitals and his heart rate was way up. And they're like, buddy, you need to bring it down.
They take it to extremes, right? Extreme levels of stress. But then essentially what happens is they boil it down to, how does this impact, how does this reflect to the general population? Modern day life is keeping us in flight or fight response. Whether it's you have a really stressful job on the computer or you're a surgeon, most of the times our brains aren't able to determine life-threatening stress from everyday stress because modern day life technology is keeping us stuck in that fear response.
Both are equally valid in terms of the detrimental effects of stress on our body, on our person, on our mind, because if you think it's real, this is what they go into in the episode, if you think it's real, then it's real. So stress is stress. And they talk about not saying you're going to overcome your stress and reframe it so that it's not stressful, accepting that these things that are stressful to you are stressful to you. So they have the tool, date your stress to overcome it. And that means not denying it, not making it so you think it's not a stress, because that's not going to work. Your brain thinks it's a stress. So you still have the fear, but you prepare yourself to be able to manage the stress and to be present with the emotions that you're feeling during stress. But through your mindset, through positive self-talk, and through practice with relaxation strategies, you teach yourself to handle the stress so that it doesn't have the negative impact on your well-being.
What did you think of this? I liked this a lot because obviously it's using the science-backed tools that we love and we practice and we share with our clients. But what I loved about it is that it kind of eliminates that sense of judgment. If you have a stress response to driving on the highway or driving at night or just simple human tasks that isn't, jumping off a cliff or a skyscraper, that's okay. Releasing the judgment of it and just understanding your feelings and emotions and walking towards the fear and using your tools while you do that, while you walk towards that fear, essentially helps you build that resilience to move through the fear. And notice how I'm not harping on getting over the fear. It's moving through it, being scared and doing it anyways. Right. You do not have to eradicate your fear of something in order to overcome it.
To be functional through it. Case in point, Chris said, my good friend Chris, we're not going to call him Chris Hemsworth from here on out. We're just going to call him Chris. So he was up on that sky crane. I don't even know what you call it. It's a big crane in the sky attached to a building. And he said, I don't deal well with heights. He didn't say, oh, I was all better. I wasn't scared anymore. He admitted he was scared the whole time, but by utilizing the mindfulness practices that he had been taught and had been working with leading up to the challenge, he was able to say, heck yeah, I'm up really high and I'm really scared, but I'm also okay and I can do this. And the positive self-talk, like actually cheering for yourself, saying specific concrete things like, I can do this. I got this. I know how to do this. I'm doing this. Science says is actually helpful to your successfully doing it, which is really nice, especially if you feel a little silly cheering for yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
Which from time to time I do. But I feel better about it because I'm like, well, I might feel a little silly, but it's effective and that's what counts.
Again, our brain can't essentially determine what is a tiger chasing us from what's not a tiger chasing us. While everyday life can feel very overwhelming, all the tasks we have to do, a really good tool that we can use is segmentation. So biting off our to-do list in chunks. And I was talking to you earlier about being so overwhelmed about moving and just not knowing where to start and just feeling like I was spinning my wheels over things.
Huge.
Yeah.
And moving isn't something that's done in a day. So you have to segment.
Yeah, you said chunk it out. You said you have to wait till moving day to actually get stuff done. You're spinning your wheels on your computer for no good reason. So just kick back, be a human this week. Friday you take action, and then everything you have to do, chunk it out. You don't have to furnish the whole living room on Saturday.
Right.
You know, it's going to take time. So I love that tool.
All right, let's move on to shock.
Okay.
The challenge in this one is the one of all 6 that he did that was a hell's no for me. Never, never, never. He had to dive into this frozen water and swim. Hell's no.
Shock therapy is essentially using temperature to shock your body, and it kickstarts our cells to start clearing up the gunk and the damage and repairing themselves, essentially. Okay, cold versus hot. We'll start with cold, which frequent listeners know we hate. We really don't like the winter. We try our very best, and the cold just sucks. I'm cold all the time, very easily.
Not our
My
thing.
extremities. It's a lot. So for those of us who experience this may be more challenging, but that's kind of part of what is exciting about doing cold shock therapy, which can literally just be the last 30 seconds of your shower. Turn it on super cold. Is great for our immune system. It triggers cellular repair. It can prevent brain disease. And again, the show will go into the science behind it, but even knowing the science, it is so hard for me to do. Like JC has implemented this in his routine. My dad does this in his routine. After the sauna, which we'll get into, I tried to do it.
I tried,
but I don't think this is going to be a regular part of my routine. Maybe once a week, if that, for a few seconds.
Okay, so the one time I tried it, I'm counting as my benchmark. And I thought, okay, 30 seconds at the end of the shower was a goal. It wasn't, I didn't think I was going to nail that the first day. I do not exaggerate when I say less than 1 second.
You're like, nope.
That cold water hit me and I jumped. I was like, oh no. Like I did not even make it to 1/1000 because I was going to count. I was thinking, I'd make it single digits, but I was thinking I would get higher than 1/1000. I didn't get to the 1,000 part of 1/1000. But that was day 1. I will try it again and maybe I'll get to 1,000 this time. And maybe the next time I'll get a little further. It's not my thing. I do get why it's worth it if I can make some progress there. And I haven't given up. I will keep trying.
Maybe we do a wellness trends 2.0 that we won't try. Like you won't find Kit and I trying an ice bath. You see these people on TikTok dunking themselves. I'm like,
I will not.
That is incredible. I admire you so much. I am incapable. I cannot do that.
We are, however, willing to go to the other end of the spectrum and do the extreme heat. So we've been doing our weekly saunas. Not to toot my own horn, but to toot my own horn, we're pretty good at them. We come in with big, huge containers of cold water that we sip pretty much constantly. We have each other for distraction. We get talking. We can easily do 45 minutes. We have to check the temperature. I don't know what temperature it is.
I know.
On Limitless, they were saying 170 or above for the extreme heat. I don't
Fahrenheit?
Yes. I don't think ours is that hot, but I don't really know. I haven't looked at the temperature. I mean, it's hot. We're sweating. And I'm red for hours afterward. But I don't hate it. I actually kind of look forward to it. It is nature's volume. Afterward, I'm pretty chill.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
I felt high. I told you that last week. And you were like, same, honestly. So what's cool about it is I think knowing the science behind it, like knowing why we're doing it, enables me to implement this in my routine. So I go once a week and I go with you. And I would be definitely willing to implement this more frequently into my routine, but it's a habit I'm trying to make. So that's where I'm at right now. But the fact that, so like heaps of molecular junk are piling up from the wear and tear of aging in our cells. And Chris says hoarding all that trash could lead to serious problems. The blistering heat of the sauna tells our body to send in a cleanup crew, which is called a heat shock protein. So the heat shock proteins essentially clean up all the damaged cells in our body.
Get those moving out.
Kick them to the curb. It's trash day, baby.
Episode 3 was fasting. This one, when I looked at the 6 overview, I wasn't interested in. I thought, well, I'm not going to skip it. You know, of course, I want to watch the whole series, but I'm not really interested in the fasting. I'm never going to do that. When I'm hungry, I eat. When I'm not, I still eat if there's good food around. I was going to say I don't, but that's not true. This was my sleeper surprise episode. I bought in early. I was so engaged. I surprised myself with how interested I was in this episode.
I gotta say, so I did fasting 2 different times under the instruction of my functional medicine practitioner. So I wasn't kind of flailing willy-nilly, bought some random thing. And I would do it again because of the results. It is hell. It's hell in there. Okay, so Chris Hemsworth did not eat a thing.
Anything for 4 days. 4 full days.
We had soup and we had tea. He ate nothing. I don't know if I can do that.
I was fascinated. I don't know if I could do it, but it was so interesting to watch him do it and his friends who tried to do it with him but made it 2 days and then gave up. That would probably be me. They kept checking his ketones. They were looking for ketone elevation, and ketones, I don't know what they are. They didn't go into what they are, but I do know what effect they have because they kept saying, you'll know when they kick in, you're going to get this burst of energy. You're not going to feel cranky or hungry in that moment. You're just going to feel really energized and enthused. I loved living it through him. He had to go through the hell, but I got to sort of enjoy the experience of it. It was just really cool.
Okay, so I got to say, I was allowed 1 cup of black coffee a day, and I didn't even indulge in it. And for days after the fast, I didn't need any caffeine. I was sleeping amazing. My skin was great. My gut was happy, which frequent listeners know I've suffered from gut dysbiosis and a whole host of gut health issues, and my gut was calm as a cucumber.
If I were to ever try this, I would not try 4 days, and I would definitely make sure that I had a professional supervising me.
Yeah, most definitely. I would say top 2 things are have a professional advising you, and 2, get a buddy. And my professional who was advising me said that. She suggested that. She's like, you're going to be way more successful if you have a buddy. So luckily, my husband did it with me, and I think we're going to implement this into our lives more frequently. So maybe once a season, and then maybe once a month. I don't know.
Keep us posted.
I will.
Episode 4 was strength. his challenge was to climb this rope suspended. It was 100-foot rope. It was suspended over 1,000-foot drop from this cable car. And when he first tried it, he was colossally terrible at it. I mean, this is a strong guy with massive muscles. And I was thinking, why is he so bad at it? Because I've been to circus school and I've climbed the little ropes.
Wait a second. You've been to circus
So when he
school?
first tried to do the rope, I'm looking at him, not judgmentally, just thinking, is he faking being that bad at it? Because how can you be that bad at it? Because like I've done that. And I was like, wait, why have I done that? And I was like, oh, it's circus school. Because you climb ropes and you climb silks. It depends what section you're in. But literally what he did, where you wrap it around your foot and then you grab the rope with your other foot and press it to the top to make it like a step. And then the trick is you don't pull with your arms, you lift with your legs, and then you toss your arms back up to hold you while you redo the rope, just like he did on the show. And I was thinking, I was a lot better at that, and I'm not coordinated and certainly don't have your muscles. But then when they had his wife try it for the first time after he'd been practicing for months, and they had her get on and she was like, zip, 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 zip. And I was like, okay, it's not just me being delusional, because, you know, sometimes I can think I can do things that I can't. Yeah.
Kid, we need to dive into this later.
Oh, I will have to find
school.
a video. I don't know what I have. I don't think I have any of me climbing the rope. I'll look. We can always post it on the old Instagram if I can find something. I could definitely find a photo of me at circus school, though. I will promise that
This
for
is
Instagram.
incredible. I need that photo. Amazing.
Part of what they talked about in the strength episode is that no matter what kind of shape you're in, no matter how much time you spend at the gym working your muscles, we all know it's not just cardio. You really need the strength training, but he had all that. But it was more than that. It was all the underutilized, specialized muscles that simulate real life, everyday tasks that humans did once upon a time that we don't anymore. And then we go to the gym, but it's really only using the same few muscle groups over and over. And there's a whole bunch we never use. And those were a lot of the ones he needed.
What's interesting is like the theme, right? We don't stop moving because we get old. We get old because we stop moving. So simply move your body more and do things that are going to increase your strength, because using our muscles sends signals to the rest of our body, helping it stay healthy in, you know, a whole host of ways. But what I find interesting about strength training personally is I feel like it does a lot for my mentality. It's very empowering. Like I think of the word power when I think about strength.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I get power, like, you know, power lifter, strength training, but having it be empowering.
Yes.
Like spiritually empowering to move your body. And you're not even talking about progress like last week I used the 5-pound dumbbells. This week I'm using the 8-pound dumbbells, because we all know that when you see progress, of course you're going to feel empowered and like, oh, look, all my hard work's going to something. Like, I would hope so. You're just saying it gives you like a little rush of endorphins that says, I am woman.
Yes.
Roar.
Yes. I find that it allows us to step into our personal power when we feel a little bit challenged physically.
They talk about a bunch of sciencey stuff. The myokines are chemical messengers that travel around your body, like tiny post people delivering packages of goodness to our cells. They can prevent the buildup of unwanted fat. They can suppress certain cancers, and they can stimulate the immune system to work better and for longer. Those are all activated as we strength train, as we do exercises. Like, I feel like when I say strength train, everybody pictures being in the gym.
Yeah.
But they said actually the best thing is real life things. Like, they had Chris chopping wood, because that's an authentic movement that's hard to simulate in a gym setting. And they had women in Mexico who lived in this agrarian culture where they did everything. They're carrying rocks up these mountainsides and then smashing the rocks into smaller rocks to build retaining walls, and just all kinds of authentic movement built into life.
Yeah, so incredible. And I think that's what resonates with the two of us, I feel like, the most. It's like doing activities like movement that, you know, necessarily isn't going to the gym. We don't have to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Nope. So build that strength.
All movement is better than no movement. So Get moving.
Love it. So the next topic was memory. And I was scared to watch this one.
This is the one I was most excited to watch. Excited meaning to learn something new, learn something helpful.
In the film, Dr. Shaw says, in order to protect our memories, it's important to unplug from our devices and distractions and really challenge our brains. We have all the answers at our fingertips, and we're constantly whipping out our phones and looking something up
for solutions.
And it's disempowering.
So we're not giving our brains the chance to power through the sticking point and giving our brains a chance to like blast through that and have the satisfaction of finding the answer.
It almost adds more stress to us to have this overload of information at our fingertips. Like I've been finding a lot lately, being on my phone is just starting to stress me out because I'm constantly grabbing it and I'm just on it, refreshing, and just having an overload of content and information. And I think that's very common.
I've really started to distance myself from that constant sensory input. I used to always be listening to a podcast or a recorded book because I thought, oh, this is great while I do laundry or while I wash the dishes or while I tidy up. You know, I get to listen to, and I just got to the point where I felt saturated all the time. So in an effort to not feel saturated, I've consciously elected to single task a lot of activities. And increasingly, I'm finding more and more activities that I don't need the multitask. I don't need that second activity going at the same time. And it's been going very well.
For you. No, that's really amazing. In times of stress is when we numb the most and we look for outside. We get overstimulated. I think for me, feeling like I'm at a stress point in my life, it's easier to distract myself with my phone or with my computer than actually just focus in the moment. Like I'm at the point right now where I'm distracting myself like triple. I got the TV up, my laptop out, my phone next to me, and no wonder I'm finding myself just in a really frantic headspace.
Yeah, feeling overwhelmed because your brain is literally overwhelmed with all that input.
We're talking a lot about technology and eradicating it when it comes to increasing our memory capabilities. But another really good thing is relying on our own sense of GPS. So they drop Chris into the wilderness with his buddy with no phone, no GPS, and gives him the challenge of navigating his way to a set point using only his brain. And I was getting a little nervous because it cannot be easy to do that in the outback of Australia.
Well, I was getting nervous, and then I reminded myself that there's a film crew following them.
Right. They'll be fine.
So they're not going to let them get too far afield, and that consoled me, so I didn't need to get too nervous.
Yeah. So challenging yourself by, pausing on the GPS.
Go old school. Like, you can look it up in advance on MapQuest, like we used to do once upon a time, but then try to find something without using your GPS. Just give yourself a little brain challenge, unless that seems like too much, in which case don't, because you also don't want to cause yourself more stress. But that was one of the best ways. Is something about navigating really helps get those neurons firing.
The last topic was acceptance. So this one was so beautiful. The experiment. I cried like a baby. I wept.
I was so affected by this one.
I feel like it was so enlightening to watch because it's so rare that we talk about death. We just don't want to talk about it.
I had never heard of a death doula before watching the show.
Yeah, that was interesting.
It was very interesting how matter of fact, but at the same time compassionate she was. It was like she had really healthy personal boundaries that made her effective at her job, but also able to do her job long term. I found her very impressive.
I liked the deathbed meditation as well. That was beautiful. Just a way to lull you to the other side.
So the acceptance episode was sort of a wrap-up episode in that it brought everything together, and then the theme of this final episode was basically resistance is futile. Fighting what you don't want, fighting getting old, fighting looking old, fighting aches and pains only makes it worse. The best thing you can do for your own longevity and for your own enjoyment in living the life you have is to accept and embrace the life you currently have.
And appreciate every moment that we get with the people we love.
And that really, I think that's why I got so emotional.
And also seeing aging as such a gift.
Yes. Oh, that was a major theme of that episode. You're right.
Yeah, right.
Live every day to its fullest. Don't waste time envying somebody else's life. Don't waste time reminiscing or envying the life you once but no longer have. Live this life the way it is right now.
You know what one of my biggest takeaways was from this episode is that culture, the chief in that tribe in Fiji, how he and his tribe, they grieve for 100 days and 100 nights. And it just highlights the fact that our Western culture does not spend enough time to grieve.
Right.
We're just expected to go back to work and just live our lives. Like, to have those 100 days specifically to really be in the depths of your grief and sit with it and be in it would take us so much further along our healing journey.
And he talked about the benefits that had for him and what it enabled him to do to move through the phases into acceptance. And that included him taking over the role of chief, which at the beginning of the 100 days he didn't want, didn't feel equipped for, didn't think he was ready for. And as he processed and moved through all of his thoughts and memories and emotions at the end of the 100 days, he was ready. And I thought that really was beautiful because it says it's okay and normal and human to be sad. We all are. And that takes time, and you don't need to compartmentalize it, and you don't need to pretend it's not there, and you don't need to try to fast forward it. Having the quiet to sit with and process all of that does so much for well-being. And that is a lesson that we Westerners should mull.
Yeah, we could learn.
Right.
Definitely. Grief is so sacred and it's so personal. So I really like that takeaway. So when it comes to longevity, hopefully you have a thing or two to mull over.
Thank you so much for joining us. We love you so much.
We love you so much.
Peace, love, and light.
Peace, love, and light. The Soulful of Wellness hosts are certified health and wellness coaches. This podcast is intended to inform and entertain listeners on their wellness journey. This podcast is meant to enhance, not replace, listeners' care from doctors, therapists, or other medical providers.